Good morning. Happy Friday. I'm crossing my fingers that this is actually going to go live. So welcome everybody. Let me know if you can hear me. For all of you getting notices, I am very honored to be live this morning. Looks like we're having problems again. Oh, maybe not. Good morning, everybody. Let me know if you can hear me. We had some challenges yesterday, so I'm testing you guys out before I go live on Instagram. Okay, it looks like it's going. Okay, good morning. Happy Friday. I'm bringing Instagram on to the live. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, YouTube. Our live function worked on YouTube. Yay. I was so nervous. So I actually brought YouTube on live first to make sure that it would work. And so I'm also going to share the link to my community over on Facebook. So welcome all of you. Today is a really wonderful day. We are digging into natural health news about COVID. We are going to go over a whole bunch of information. There are more studies. Granted, my printer is out, but I'm going to share with you a lot of the studies about children and testing and a whole bunch of good stuff here in the U.S., out of Boston, out of California, and UCSF, University of California, San Francisco. I missed all of you on YouTube. I missed you guys yesterday. Instagram, you guys are so wonderful. And a lot of you had moved over there. So I apologize for the challenges. I don't know what happened. I'm part of a creator community here on YouTube. And usually we get alerts when things, there are issues. I don't know what happened. But at any rate, I've got my normal community back, and welcome. Hi, JP and Yvette and Diane and June and Jenny from the block and Barbara, Brenda, Holly, Flo. Welcome all of you. I'm really excited to go over a whole bunch of questions as well. You guys sent me questions on Instagram, and you also sent me questions via YouTube. So I will dig into those specifically in the latter part of this, in the second half of this show. So I want to dig into some news. We had a record-breaking day. These are the kind of stats where you don't want to be the best and the highest. So the fact that we set another record, we are halfway to, well over halfway to hitting 100,000 cases a day. We're over three quarters of our way there. We hit that yesterday at 75,600 positive cases. Part of our challenge is testing companies. They are batching some information. There are 9+ day delays. That is just outrageous when we're talking about the degree of community spread. So that's one of our issues. But just overall, the US now is over 3.5 million cases. The world is quickly approaching 14 million cases. We're at 13.8 million cases. Yesterday was a big day. Brazil surpassed 2 million. I kind of anticipated that would happen in Brazil. What I didn't anticipate is India to hit over 1 million. I thought maybe they would hit that over the weekend, but they are seeing the kind of community spread that we're dealing with. There are a lot of states making mandates. And so one of the things that we have seen is, in addition, we have, I think it's Alaska or Arkansas. Can't read my own handwriting. I apologize. It's one of those states. It might be Alaska. But Colorado also came on board with a mask mandate. We have noticed that there are also shopping, retailers is the word. We have retailers like Target and Publix also coming online that are requiring masks. So Target, CVS, and Publix are now going to require masks. I don't know how accurate this is, but the first posting on it yesterday was that Target would come on board by August 1st. I don't know why they would delay on that, but at any rate, they are going to be creating a safer environment for us to shop. And so I actually like that. We are still ordering our groceries online, but I do like that my shopper is going to be required to wear a mask. Everybody else will be. So it just limits that exposure there. Okay, so I also want to highlight that we are in explosive exponential growth. And this is potentially that pivot point, the paradigm shift potentially, where we really all need to collectively come together and seek a radical change in terms of behaviors, philosophies about the virus. And I think the other thing that occurred, and maybe why we're seeing such an expansive growth, we've seen the trends. Memorial Day was a big trend. That holiday, now we're also seeing the trend of July 4th. Those were kind of epicenter creating activities and holidays. And I think a lot of people, we have a big delivery happening today, so our dogs might freak out during our show. The reopening, I think a lot of people felt reopening equaled safety. And that is not entirely true. And so, the fact that many states like Georgia reopened way too soon against a lot of the policies and even the federal government policies that they put out of, certain thresholds that need to be met, contact tracing being part of it, having, 14 days of a downward decline. And so, that the antithesis of the reopening, there's a sense of safety, and I don't want to be a fear monger, and that's not what my channel is about. That's not what the information I parlay to you focuses on, or at the core of my information. But at the end of the day, we need to have some sense that this is a serious situation, and so I'm hoping that maybe this weekend we start to see some greater changes. But let's dig into some news for the state. So California, all of you, I see a lot of folks tuning in from California on the feeds. You guys, that state is going to be releasing the rules for reopening the schools today. So I don't know what that looks like. I know that LA County is going virtual. And I want to remind everybody, I think 2 weeks ago, I reported that the principals in San Francisco Bay, they got together, there were 50 of them, and there was a COVID exposure and they were all in quarantine. That, those things don't bode well for schools. And I have more information that doesn't bode well for schools. So in Florida had another big day. I think their second or third largest positive case day. Again, that's not entirely an accurate picture because we know a lot of delays. We don't have enough testing happening, and there are 10 plus day delays in Florida. But a third of the cases that are being run are in the 18 to 34 year range. And this was really big. I posted this on my Instagram feed. So now, if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, please do, because there's just stuff kind of coming at us so quickly. And part of it's to communicate ASAP, but also it's a marker for me that that's something I want to add to my report today. But I posted this yesterday. The data that we know, a third of all the positive cases in Florida, a third of them are actually minors, individuals under 18. So they're children, they're tweens and teens. So a third of the cases are positive. That's a 30% positive percentage rate. That's not great. 5%, 5% positive rate is what the World Health Organization has as a threshold of trying to contain. Anything above 5 means you are full on not containing this virus. It's in a massive community spread. The children, the individuals under 18 in Florida, it's 6 times that level. And so that is very challenging. I do have some information about Florida. 20% of the individuals who tested positive, 20% of them have, this is tracked from this week and in the past. 20% of the positive cases end up making an ER visit. 11% end up getting admitted. And when we are at 315,000 cases, 20% of that, 11%, is a massive quantity of people, and does put a massive amount of strain on the healthcare system. And essentially that flattening the curve is all about minimizing the strain on the healthcare system, because it's not just COVID patients that need to be hospitalized. It's folks with, routine, everyday challenges, health crises, car accidents, heart attacks that are unrelated to COVID, and pregnancy issues. All of those things fall under that umbrella. I do want to highlight in Texas, there's a positive story. There's a 24-year-old who just came out of the hospital. She was in the hospital for 80 days, almost 3 months. She had been in the hospital, contracted the virus in April. She spent one entire month in ICU on a ventilator. And then she moved into rehab, and the rehab, she needed rehab because there was atrophy. She lost her ability to swallow. She could not walk, and she could not talk. Those are scenarios that we're not really being attuned to. And this is why I think we need to start making some radical changes. 24 is young and youthful, whether they have underlying health conditions or not. To have to go to rehab to learn how to walk and talk again and to swallow, those are basic body functions. There will be long-term effects for her, but she took her first steps on June 3rd, and she's back home. So that is really big. It's a positive marker in terms of just the degree that the therapeutics are playing, where in New York in the beginning, we were seeing, 80% fatality rates for folks on ventilation. We are starting to see a decrease in that. In Georgia, so we've got a lot of stuff going on here. One of the counties where we live, we're at the edge of 3 counties. So our backyard fence is a county line. So our neighbors behind us are in Fulton County. We're in a county called Cherokee. And then like a mile and a half away is another county called Cobb County. We're all in the northern burbs of Atlanta. So Cobb County, just a mile and a half away, they are now going virtual. And our governor is suing our mayor of Atlanta because Atlanta ordered the mask ordinance, and our governor wrote an executive order trying to deny that. So it's going to be a court battle. This will be really interesting to see it play out, but she is not playing. And she herself and her whole entire family are asymptomatic positive cases convalescing at home. And she has no idea how she got it because they've been in lockdown. So that is what's going on in Georgia. Overall, 39 states this week saw an increase from last week to this week. And we also saw this week, Russia is trying to hack in and steal research documents, not just here in the US, but they targeted the vaccine researchers, and they tried to get information in the US, Britain, and Canada. So that's real lovely. With that whole Twitter hack on Wednesday, I don't know if that was a foil or what, but definitely very, when Russia's trying to steal data, I don't know what that's all about, but I do also want to talk to you guys about data. So yesterday, I actually have to apologize. I misreported when I said, it looks like the CDC, is going to maintain a lot of the data on their website. Well, so when I looked at it yesterday, the data was there, but apparently Wednesday it had been taken down. So there was a data removal of a whole bunch of information, the kind of moving numbers and data from the past had been wiped out. It's back. It returned some magically Thursday morning. So when I went on, I made a statement saying that the data is there. True to my statement yesterday, though, is that the CDC is pumping out a lot of data. They're not data, clinical research. They've posted a lot of research. They've got some information and guidelines with pregnancy. They've got some research I'm going to highlight today. But I really want to communicate that site I do monitor regularly. And, the fact that the federal government is trying to circumvent the CDC and have hospitals report to HHS, which is one of the federal entities, the Health and Human Services, is going to put a strain on the CDC, but it also might release them to be way more forthright. And from what I've seen, just since all this happened, they've busted out a lot of information. Now, I also want to refer you to, the CDC has a YouTube channel. And why I'm telling you this, they actually have some really great content on it. Not a lot of views. I think they don't really highlight, YouTube, but yesterday I didn't get a chance to watch. They have Zoom conference calls. They're recorded and then they end up getting posted on YouTube, but they had one about the children's inflammatory syndrome. It's usually a 2-day delay and they get it up on YouTube. But I want to put that out there. You can actually learn some of the information and guidelines, and they dig into K through 12 school guidelines, and it's very impactful. So I just want to highlight the CDC is a source, regardless of what your thoughts are there. I also do want to highlight Texas. So the Texas hospitals have been conducting a surveillance program. And that means that all kids who are going into Texas hospitals are getting they're getting tested for COVID. What they found is a high percentage of kids that have been tested are testing asymptomatic. So they test positive, but they have no symptoms. And so that is highlighting that kids might be major spreaders, even though their cases might not showcase symptoms, but they might be a family spreading source. Also, and I know this was one of the questions that came through today, but I want to also highlight there's some data that Boston Children's Hospital has put out, and they talk about the COVID-related symptoms in children, what to look out for. So over 50% of the children who present with COVID that are symptomatic are going to present with cough, shortness of breath, or having their mouth breathing. So mouth breathing at night where they maybe didn't before, and just having kind of a challenge with breathing, wheezing, asthma. A third of them present with fevers, but there are some other symptoms. So symptoms include fever and chills, cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, fatigue, muscle, body aches, headache, loss of the taste and or smell, nausea and vomiting, congestion and runny nose, and diarrhea. So those are some of the top symptoms that they listed for children. I also want to highlight the Lancet, which is a British research journal. They posted data, a research article that talks about the testing delays being a part of the spread. And so we know right now we're at a 7 to 14 day testing delay in some locations. We have multiple private labs running of COVID tests. So the FDA put, I think it was 14 or 17 different labs. Some are serum blood, they might be a pinprick. We've got the nasal swab. Everybody's familiar with that. We've got saliva. There's a lot of different ways that you can test for COVID. And some of those are accurate, some are less accurate. But what we have seen is the influx of people wanting to be tested and getting more states, the epicenters, Florida, Texas, Arizona, and California. Those 4 states are driving a major flux of tests through these private labs, and they're running delays. And so there are also issues with swab, the little cotton ball, the cotton piece, the actual agents to test, plastic pieces, plastic bags, all of those different aspects. There are shortages in those. There are delays at testing. They're running out at the testing center. So people are lining up and they're not able to fulfill everybody who wants to get tested. And what this Lancet report looks at, what is the degree that these testing delays, the lack of material supplies, and labs being delayed and getting the reports out, what is that? How does that contribute to the spread? And what they found is there is a significant amount of community spread when tests are 3 or more days delayed. So if you don't get your test back in 24 is like, holy cow, but 48 hours or, 72 hours, now it's gone past the threshold of possibly you having quarantined, you maybe not feeling so kind of uncomfortable, like sometimes days we can kind of mentally like, oh, it's all good, we're fine. You're not seeing any symptoms or whatnot. But essentially, it does mean that any delay of a test over 3 days, there's no containment happening. And so the challenge here is, what is the value then of tests? Like if people don't know immediately to quarantine and they're not actively engaged, and I don't know what they're being told. Maybe you guys can tell me, for any of you who've been tested, but are you being told, if it's questionable or anybody getting tested should automatically quarantine? Is that a recommendation happening? I have a sense that probably isn't the case. And so the other thing that I want to note is I've read on the Survivor Corps, that Facebook group, the page for COVID patients, what they've identified is that a lot of people actually, they are awaiting tests and they're feeling bad, and they go to call their doctor or they want to go to the ER and they're told, you have to wait until we get your test. Like you're in a window, this no man's land, and doctors aren't having folks come into their clinics if you're awaiting a positive test. And if you're in Houston or Miami-Dade where ICUs are capacity, what do you do? What do you do? You can't say I've tested positive because I don't know. So that is problematic. And what that Lancet identifies that. I would print it out, but we're waiting on ink. So the ink should arrive today. Also, the California study from University of California, San Francisco, identified that a third of adults, and I just posted this on my Instagram feed because I thought it was so impactful. A third of young adults between 18 and 25 are actually vulnerable to severe COVID. And they've highlighted some major categories. So vapors and smokers are vulnerable in that category, as well as any of those 18 to 25-year-olds with any pre-existing illnesses. And one of the things that we've seen is some of those folks in that category of pre-existing illnesses, this generation is not being projected to outlive the previous generation. So the fatality, not fatality, but the severity of COVID might also be a factor in that. The health, the state of their health might be a factor. So I just want to highlight that for any of you who have college-age kids, they're not invincible. And this study shows a third of them. So if you have 3 kids in your family, 18 to 25, one of them might be more susceptible to a severe COVID case. And so it becomes really critical in these family units because there are kids back at home doing virtual master's programs and, they're telecommuting. They might be a spreader in your family. And, many of the younger communities are just a little bit more nonchalant about this. So again, that whole reopening, meaning it's safe, is not true. And what they've seen is because of the decreases, like in Florida, over a third of the cases are 18 to 35. There are a lot of younger folks that are, hanging out with friends, socializing, going to the beaches and bars and things like that. And a third of them in between 18 and 25 are susceptible. And in this same, statement, you look at Texas, that the positive story today, the 24-year-old who finally is back at home, but she spent 80 days in an ICU. I mean, what is her, God, could you imagine her hospital bill? Like, how is a 24-year-old who probably has student loans and student debt, how are they gonna deal with that? I mean, that's like a whole other thing nobody's really talking about, is the cost. And how are you going to finance that? That is going to be another mortgage payment. Okay, so I've got Karen who says, we were told the test was damaged and our daughter's fever was gone and they told us she was fine, but can be retested if we want it. And a few days later, she could not smell or taste. Oh man, okay. That is interesting. I think the other thing too is, clinicians they're having a hard time with the fact that testing is what it is. And there's still the novel nature of this. In the volume of patients that they're talking to or addressing. It's very hard to, nail things exactly, but definitely, Karen, did you guys get her retested? I'm curious. Okay. So the other thing is this study particularly has highlighted also that there's starting to come to light a term, and it's relevant to if you've ever had mono like I had, or even mono or any type of viral infection that's really significant. There are what we call post-infection syndrome. There is a COVID post-infection syndrome that's starting to shake out. One of the things that they're seeing is chronic fatigue syndrome being really prevalent, and literally like there's cognitive impairments, that's the neuro-COVID taking effect, muscle related pain, and almost debilitating reduction of energy. So the post-viral syndrome that everybody, but they really kind of were looking at the 18 to 25, it will be life-changing for these individuals. And they, in the study, in an interview of one of the study, the leaders of the study identified that, one of the things that they are equating the post-viral cellular impact on our immune system, body, our energy sources. And also they have identified that it could very well be, we're buffering on YouTube. Let's see here. If Brian started working. Sorry, YouTube, we're buffering a little bit. But one of the things that they've identified is that what they feel the post-viral infection could trigger autoimmunity. So we might also see a whole crop of younger patients being diagnosed with Hashimoto's, RA, lupus, MS. So that is going to be quite a challenge. So I want to put that out there because I know age is a big factor with the newer tests that are coming back positive. The younger generation are now they're being hospitalized. I did read a story on one of the Survivor Corp page, and it was about a family that their kids actually had the whole entire family had COVID, and their young son had the greatest impact, and it was affecting his throat and this cough, soreness, and all this. And they got released, but when they were at the children's hospital, they were told that there was a 7-year-old girl who was all by herself in a quarantine status. And, as a parent, like that is just heartbreaking. I would risk my life. I would be in there with Gabriel. I don't care what would happen. I would sign every waiver. I would never want him to be all by himself, but not every family has that luxury. But it's really scary, when we're talking about schools coming back. 7 years old, all by themselves. That's awful. Okay, so I do want to highlight the CDC report that I found really impactful. Is that they've identified the 3 most common symptoms, and they've also categorized. So they pulled all of the data. They've started to analyze what might be some symptoms to address or to look for. So 96% of every COVID positive case that shows symptoms has one or more of these: cough, fever, or shortness of breath. And the shortness of breath is the kind of tipping point where people end up getting hospitalized. The cough and fever people can kind of manage at home, but it's the shortness of breath that then escalates it into an ER visit or even, hospitalization. So on the breakdown, actually, for all 3, 45% of all positive cases have shown all 3 of those symptoms collectively. Cough occurs in 84% of the symptomatic cases, and fever occurs in 80% of the symptomatic cases. So we've got a little bit more information on that. I really like that we are seeing more breakdown. Friends, that's from the CDC. So, it equips us, each of you within your families, to look for cough, fever, shortness of breath. And no, shortness of breath, you want to get these. You want to have a pulse ox in your medical supply kit. And this literally is as simple as putting this on your finger like this, and it will give you a reading of your heart rate and your oxygen levels. I don't know why it's taking so long. Hopefully my finger's in there right. Oh, it goes this way. Let's see if it gets, okay, here we go. So I have 98%, a 98% ox, and my pulse, my heart rate's 88. So it tends to be higher when I'm talking. Okay, so that's the core of my news today. And I want to thank Pat Wagner for being our wonderful moderator. Now I want to switch to questions. So I've got the Instagram questions. Oh, we have our little man. Hey, bud.
I was watching.
Well, you know what? I can't help you with the TV. Okay. And Daddy's on the phone, so you might have to play on your own. Honey, I've got to do my work. Okay. Can you play? Can you make Mommy a picture?
Because I have to watch TV.
Fun times.
Daddy, turn on TV.
Okay, well, Daddy's downstairs working and Mommy's working, honey. Okay, bud? Okay. All right. So we're back. Okay, so I want to dig into your questions. All right, I'm going to go from Instagram to YouTube and back and forth. Okay, so, and then these are already written questions from many of you. And then we'll go to your live questions. Okay, so Salvage Good Seaston says, do you know of any natural treatment for bunions? Okay, that's an excellent question. So with bunions, those are things that usually occur on your feet, the sides of your feet. A lot of that has to do with how you stand, sometimes how you pronate, so the pressure on the ball of your feet. And the big factor there is you want to look at making sure you have the right spinal alignment. That's one of the best ways to recalibrate how the pressure is being articulated on your feet. Depending on how severe it is, it can be pretty great. But I recommend working with a chiropractor. A lot of times you will also get the length of your legs. Some folks are off by like 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, even an inch. And you can work on aligning your hips. I will tell you, having had a natural childbirth, my hip alignment is way more problematic now than it ever was just from pregnancy. And I am still trying to recalibrate my pelvic floor strength. So you can do pelvic floor strengthening exercises to get your hips aligned, but also work on your spinal alignment. Sometimes that's postural. Sometimes it's tuning up the muscles along the spine. I love foam rolling. We foam roll every day. And it's like a chiropractic adjustment. So, okay. So that was one. Let me head over to my YouTube community tab. Okay. So let me quickly do that over here. That's where all your questions are. Oops. Community. Okay. So the questions over on YouTube are, let's see, we have 7 questions. Okay. So first question here is, Emily, do you have any testing or supplement recommendations for anger management, specifically regarding men, in case that makes a difference? Okay, so for men with anger management or anybody with anger management, I always kind of assess what's going on. So there's emotional, there's biochemical, and there could just be mood and attitude, like personality. So personality is like, we'll set that aside. That's not my expertise. But anger gets derived in a lot of liver imbalance. So I would definitely, any type of anger. And like, to be honest with you, I tend to have liver related imbalances. And that's my go-to emotion. I get angry. I won't cry first. I'll get angry and then I'll cry. So anger, you want to deal with the liver. So energetically, you want to detox the liver. You want to do milk thistle, dandelion, make sure constipation is being eliminated. Lots of liquids, reach for magnesium because you can help move things out. Constipation will cause people to feel angry. I mean, there's several hepatic veins that literally pull in the toxins of the bowel contents that are supposed to be out. They'll pull it back in and refilter it through the liver. And so that could be one issue. The other issue is to assess the male reproductive hormones. That individual might have too high of levels of testosterone. And they might be off the charts with a particular compound produced by the adrenals called DHEA. Zinc is one of my favorite ways to reduce DHEA levels. So that's my recommendation. I hope that helps. Mango Mia on Instagram says, I've had 2 nodules in my neck. Okay, so I don't know what that means, if it's the neck or if it's the thyroid. So I don't know specifics there. They've stayed same size, and ultrasound has found one to have shrunk just a bit. Is there a way to get rid of those with food, supplements, teas, or something else? And should I be concerned about them? So Mango Mia says, I don't know if they're located on your thyroid gland or parathyroid. I don't really have a true way to recommend that. I actually have protocols for any of you who have thyroid imbalances. I have a free thyroid webinar. You can access that on my website, naturalhealthresources.com. So it's free. You can take it anytime. It's this evergreen webinar I posted. And then also I have digital downloads you can purchase that will help address thyroid balance. So hyper, hypo, Hashimoto's, and just overall general thyroid balance. So I'm imagining it's probably a nodule on the thyroid, but I don't know. Also, I have a uterine polyp. Is there something for that as well? So uterine polyps are different than uterine fibroids. They can be problematic or not. And they tend to be linked to low iodine levels. And also they're linked to lymphatic congestion in the lower abdomen, as well as any type of uterine related trauma. So I would also want to know your thyroid values. The thyroid has a big role in playing, plays a significant role in helping the uterine lining stay healthy and supple and turning it over. A lot of times when we start to see polyps occur or fibroids, it's just stagnancy. So we're not getting a lot of good cellular turnover. So that is one thing that I'd recommend. And I actually have several YouTube videos on polyps and fibroids. I had them before I had Gabriel. They wanted to do surgery and I was like, heck no. I didn't say heck no. I said something else, but it was like, no go. And probably, the clinician was like, I'm going to schedule surgery. I'm like, you go ahead and do that, but I'm not doing it. And it's ironic, the surgery that she had scheduled ended up being 2 weeks before we conceived Gabriel. So whatever. I healed my own body. Okay, so next question, Jingle All the Way. Have you heard anything about testing swabs being sent for testing without being used and coming back with a positive result? She said someone on Facebook claimed to be a nurse and her hospital sent 2 unused swabs for testing and they came back as positive. I don't believe anything on Facebook, but it made me think. So 2 things. One, I always question that type of stuff. But if she's in a hospital, you could very well have the aerosolized particulates contaminate a swab. That could always be a factor. I don't know the details. It's one of these scenarios. I don't like these types of claims. They need to be really well-founded and researched with the scientific hypothesis. And they need to be approached by the scientific method. And this type of stuff, I just feel like is another kind of, the COVID denier attempt at minimizing the effect of this. So I don't really give any credence to that. I want to see some proof. So that's my thought on that. Okay. And let's see. Next question. AB Blue Eyes 333. Please talk about Menieres disease. Okay. So, that's probably better for our YouTube topic, like a YouTube video topic. I don't know a specific question other than talking about the disease, but that I really like to try and answer questions. But I'll make a note of that for a YouTube topic. Okay, let me answer another question. Okay, so Mango Mia had another question. I had a nasty cough about 6 years ago that lasted a couple of months. Is it possible that could have scarred my throat for the rest of my life, or can that go back to normal? I've felt like throat closing, air dry, agitated feeling off and on now ever since, and I'm super sensitive to chemicals, foods, and pollens affecting my throat. So anytime we have a cough, especially a long type of there's 2 types of cough, wet and dry. I've talked a little bit about this in relation to COVID. But, dry particularly, yes, you can have scarring. The repetitive nature of it, you can also have inflammation. We have a mucosal lining that starts here in our mouth, goes all the way down the throat, into the esophagus and into the stomach, and then also throughout the whole entire lower GI. It is very possible that can be endangered. It can be irritated. And so I love to recommend in a case like this, especially now if you feel a lot of the kind of dryness, I love to use aloe vera. You can actually heal a lot of those mucosal challenges by using aloe vera. And I also would look at adding some cellular enhancing, like CoQ10 and even alpha lipoic acid. We know those antioxidants will return over cells faster, and so we can get some healing. But aloe vera and slippery elm, two really powerful agents that are just very good at coating all aspects of the internal mucosal lining in the mouth, the stomach, the throat, esophagus, stomach lining, as well as the intestines. I hope that's helpful. Okay, let me go back to YouTube. Okay, so T Malice 2009. Did you do a show mentioning supplements for toddlers and kids? Yes, I actually have done several supplement related videos. Like I use Gabriel as my example for immune boosting, also for ear, nose, and throat challenges like sinus, ear infections. Some of those are 2 years old now. I also have done a few here in the live show. So if you go into my channel, you can actually search. With my YouTube channel specifically was to create a library for you. So go into my channel. If you're not subscribed, please do. Make sure you hit that notification. Also, for all of you subscribers, if you don't get notified, YouTube had a default set. They keep changing stuff, and so you have to make sure that you hit the bell and get notified. But essentially, you can search like kids supplements or kids, toddlers, children, some buzzwords, and you'll find it'll bring up, if I've titled it that way or put in metadata, you'll get to that information. So it's there. Okay, so next question. Let's see, over on Instagram. Mary Lou _SCH. The past few months, I've noticed I have a lot of phlegm, not illness related, no cold symptoms, and mostly in the evening or early morning. It's not every day, but frequent, and it is clear phlegm. Really annoying. What might cause this? I usually don't get colds or flus. I haven't been sick since 2013. So 2 things I would look at. Potentially allergies, especially with clear phlegm. Phlegm is a way of your body getting rid of stuff. The clear phlegm is just your white blood cells trying to eradicate. It's your immune response. You're trying to get rid of allergen or some sort of source that might be invading your body. So it could be pathogenic, could be viral, it could very well be dust mites and all those things. So what I would do is looking at what in your environment, home or work environment, is causing you allergen, could be an allergen source. I would invest in a good filtration system. I've shown my UV filtration, but they also have just regular filters. HEPA, full-fledged HEPA, double layer. You want your hospital grade, big wig filter, and then your HEPA filter that you can pull in and out. I would look at that. The other thing too, especially at night and the morning, that's definitely indicative of some sort of irritant. And so I do nasal sprays as well. So that might help you a little bit. The good news is it's not turning color, so it's not an infection. Okay, so let's see. Next question. Emily Easton, here we go. I have PCOS and O blood type. Same here. Okay. From my research, paleo diet seems to be an appropriate diet for both. However, by blood type, I should be doing high impact workouts, and that contradicts what is recommended for PCOS. What should I do looking to lose 85 pounds ASAP? Okay, so I do love paleo for my PCOSers and my O blood types. High impact workouts, you can do. The threshold is like 30 to 45 minutes. If you do, like I do 15, 20, and that's enough. That doesn't put me in a cortisol burnout. And then I'm not pulling progesterone that is already in some deficiency with PCOS. Approach your PCOS from your diet. Really, really encourage daily intake of really rich micronutrients like spirulina, chlorella. You want to get your greens, green juices, really, really enhance your micronutrients with herbs and multi-minerals. That's your best approach with PCOS. Really balancing the blood sugar is critical. And then also addressing your stress levels. You can do those more intense workouts, but overall, PCOS is inflammatory in its relation. So you want to really enhance the anti-inflammatories. Okay, so next question. Doreen Franklin on Instagram asks, she sends me a cute little smiley face. How effective are the infrared sauna blankets? Well, I love that question because I just did my infrared sauna last night. I purchased one to do this at home because I'm not going anywhere. My gym, I'm not doing my gym. I'm not going to my little salt sweat spa. So I brought it home, and it depends on to be honest with you, infrared really depends on the company, how it's been made. The EMFs are always a big concern with infrared, but I will tell you, infrared is amazing. When we talk about you wanting to burn excess calories and not do anything, you can do infrared. So I'll burn 500 to 600 calories in 40 minutes of a major sweat. Plus I'm detoxing, I'm moving my lymphatics. Infrared actually has the ability to get in through the skin, and it targets the fat, and it helps your fat cells release toxic material like not just candida, but heavy metals. You can excrete heavy metals. You can get rid of toxins, all different kinds of things that we're getting exposed to and bombarded by. And it's fantastic. So I have a plan to do a video. I actually need to do some of the videoing today because Brian's going to turn my little alcove. The woods arrived, and we're going to turn that into our new master closet. So I need to do a video on it. The brand that I have is just fantastic. And they've got a layer. So there's like a mat, an infrared mat that you can buy independent. And then there's a dome, and you can buy both. So I lay on the mat. So it's infrared, on my back. And then the dome has infrared going on my front. And so it's a full on sweat. If you are a private member, I posted a video about my infrared. If you're curious, especially on YouTube, it's $4.99 to be a part of our private community. And you can join that private community and you can see that video. So I definitely recommend you to do that. You just hit join. If you go to my main YouTube page, just hit join and it's there. But I love those. Okay, so next question, Darlene Malone on YouTube. She's one of our private members. What causes sleep disturbances in children? Sleepwalking and night terrors. Oh, this is good. So I was a sleepwalker as a young child, and even into my adult life. I remember a few times in college sleepwalking. There's a lot of different potential reasons. Some of it is stress and neurotransmitter imbalances. I didn't recognize that until I got into my doctoral studies, that is what I was dealing with, just a lot of stress from childhood. And night terrors are a totally different scenario. So sleepwalking tends to be less intense. If you have a child who sleepwalks, the best thing you could do is just say, you don't talk to them, you don't engage, you just say, go back to bed. And that's all they do. That's like a trigger, and they turn around and they go back to bed. I used to get up. It was like my mind was always going. And so when I would wake up or I'd have a dream, the recurring tendency that got me awake, and it was really prevalent as a teenager, I was always scared that I'd run late for school. And so without fail, I would get up and then I'd start to take a shower. I mean, I would do this at 10:30 at night. And so my parents, I'd be in my sleep, washing my hair, and then they would say, go back to sleep. And it was a trigger. And I'd wake up and oh my God, not again. And I'd washed my hair or was conditioning my hair. But the big thing is having children, getting the right balance of minerals and addressing the neurotransmitter imbalances. So GABA, PABA, and the dopamine, serotonin levels have to be balanced. I know that there's a lot to that, But you can do, there's dried urine analysis. I have kits actually back here in my little box where we do neurotransmitter analysis. That's really easy to do. But sometimes I will say in the last 7 years, there's been a lot of really good advances in children's supplements. And I am planning on doing a video on children's stress supplements because kids are really stressed out. And we've got some really good adaptogenics in liquid tinctures that we give to Gabriel. He was waking up recently from pains in his legs. And, I think that was just growing pains as well. But stress is a big trigger for kids. And I wouldn't doubt more parents are probably experiencing that with kids nowadays with COVID and all this stress. They hear and feel our stress, even if we're not even trying to hide it. Okay, Lori Thomas 116 on Instagram says, with all the hand washing, my eczema on my hands is really bad. Hand sanitizer burns it. Do you suggest any supplements to help my skin? I heard vitamin E and omega-3s and quercetin for the itch. Okay, so my favorite topical, it sounds like you need to do topical and you need to do internal. So those are very positive internal. Topically, I love to use calendula. So after you do your hand sanitizing, put calendula. Calendula is marigold. That cream has very healing properties. It'll tame the redness. It'll tame the burn, the itching, the irritation. It's really good for eczema. Eczema internally is derived with gut imbalances. So for Lori, you'd want to make sure you're balancing your digestive process, making sure you're getting good oral probiotics and digestive probiotics, really healing the internal skin, that mucosal membrane inside. But I also recommend, this is one of the products that I love. This comes out of Beauty in the Raw. I know Rachel, she's locally here in Georgia. She's a chemist and a scientist. She's amazing. She's also studied epidemiology. I think she has her master's in epidemiology from Duke. She's brilliant, and she has created CBD related creams and serums. This happens to be one for the face, but she also has this awesome orange cream. It's in a jar. I don't have it here on my shelf, but you can put that on, and it has blue tansy, which, friends, blue tansy is like a miracle. I love it. And we sell it. Aaliyah sells one brand of blue tansy for the face. But like what's great with Rachel, she puts the CBD in it. Oops, I said the word. But it has the herbal botanical. I love that. So Lori, DM me and I'll post what I'll do on later today in the stories. I've got some Gabriel stuff going on later today. I'll post Rachel's products. She also is giving product away to healthcare workers. So she's awesome. But this is really, really good. And it's orange, which has a lot of healing properties. So it's hard to see, but it's got an orange hue to it. Okay, so that's one question. Let me go back to YouTube. Let's see. Ann Lynn, hi, doctor. Which supports leg vein health better, pycnogenol or horse chestnut extract? Similarly to you, I have an angry little bump on the inside of my left calf that acts up during times of stress. Love all you do for us. Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah, mine, what I'm noticing is hormonal. So there's definitely some hormonal aspects and stress. So I just don't like one. I like both. I like pycnogenol and horse chestnut. I actually like some other blends, anti-inflammatory blends. And then I do topical cream. So I will use my Happy Breast Balm. It has liquid magnesium and iodine. And there's some other really good things like frankincense, and it just eases some of the swelling. I noticed, and this was really weird. Like one of, we had to postpone our wedding ceremony, and I had 2 outfits, and I was getting fitted for all of these. And one is a jumpsuit, and the left calf, she was like, and like I would try them on, and it just wasn't fitting right. Like the left was fine, but the right wasn't fitting right. And she's like, your calf muscle. And I've always had like a little bit more of a development of my right calf muscle. Well, it turns out it's probably this vein. And so there's a little bit more inflammation. So I do also like castor oil packing it. I posted that on Instagram too. I should probably do I just don't have a lot of time. The reality is in COVID, I'm working maybe 3 hours a day, if that is just really challenging to do all this. And so, yeah, I really want to do more. Okay. T-Mort_15. This is my last question on Instagram that I'm going to all of you guys. T-Mort15, with COVID having such a wide variety of symptoms, how do you know if you should get tested? If you have any sense that you might have been exposed or you have symptoms, get tested. There's just like, you can't, we're not at a point where we can be waiting for 1 or 2 symptoms, especially now we know a lot of asymptomatic carriers are walking around totally fine. When in doubt, get tested. Don't wait. This is not one of these things that's like you're cold. It's just not. And even the flu, you especially, said my pediatrician used to say, bring them in when they have fever and 2 more symptoms, but sometimes people don't have fevers. When in doubt, get tested. We're just at this point, you already have to anticipate you're going to have a 7 to 9 day delay in getting your test results back. You don't want to wait. You don't want it to progress and get really intense. So get tested. That's the standard answer. Okay. Now we're going to answer lots of questions. Okay. So let's see here. I have a few questions on Instagram. Supplements to take for anoxic brain injury. Sage. Okay. So I think any type of brain injury, periwinkle is there's a lot of proof periwinkle is really beneficial, especially for a lot of the brain bleeding. Gotu kola is great for the protecting the blood-brain barrier. We already know with COVID, we see the destruction and the leaky nature of that blood-brain barrier, which is really problematic. Omegas, so healthy fats, really good hydration. And there are some really good adaptogens that are good for the brain. Okay, so let's see here. Heading back over to YouTube. Okay, Riderack, Rachel, one of our community members says, what do you recommend for diverticulitis that is natural? So diverticulitis, if you are unfamiliar with what that is, it's basically like these little open pores in your intestines. And in your open pores, digestive matter, undigested food, fecal matter gets stuck in there. And it's like having a blackhead inside your intestines. They fester, they can get inflamed, they can get infected. The most impactful thing you can do, there's no way to get rid of it, but fiber and enhancing your bile production from your liver will get bowel contents moving. And so fiber will actually pull that out. Psyllium tends to be beneficial when used properly. It can help eradicate some of the junk. So basically you have to think about when you're consuming certain fiber. And my other fiber that I go to is inulin, chicory root. Actually, I didn't know chicory is an Italian dandelion. I actually got the seeds in the mail and I'm going to grow my own chicory. So I'm creating a medicinal garden in my backyard too. So I hope that helps. Okay, supplements for healing candida in kids. 2 Einsteins. Okay, 2 Einsteins. Gosh, depends on how intense the candida is, what the symptoms are, and what I would do would be to make sure you are limiting the sugar, especially the unnatural sugars. Enhance the fiber intake, healthy, natural, probiotic rich foods. Kids are tough, and so a lot of times you just have to supplement. But I definitely have your children on a 15 to 20 plus multi-strain probiotic. Some of the ones that I really love are Garden of Life. They have a few that are really good with kids. Gabriel's like hit or miss. Sometimes they're these chew tabs. We refrigerate them. Sometimes they'll eat them. Sometimes he won't. Sometimes I have to coerce him into eating it. Okay, I've got a minute left on Instagram. Okay, Whitney. Hey, Whitney. What are some of the problems / complications from doing lymphatic drainage incorrectly? Okay, that's an excellent question. And she asked, can lymphatic fluid get trapped in your chest and neck if you don't drain at the neck watersheds correctly? Yes. So there are, I am usually the cleanup person. So I get people who have practitioners who have no idea what they're doing and don't do it right. So ideally you want to open up, there's a thoracic duct right here. This is the main drain. And you want to open that up, and then underneath the arms. Now this is all dependent, as long as you have all your lymph nodes intact, you want to also open up your arms and then open up the watersheds right here. And so that's your kind of best method. Sometimes folks who do it incorrectly will actually push fluid down, which is never a good thing. Fluid wants to move up the arms, up the legs. And so if we don't follow the right sequencing, you can cause some challenges, permanent damage also for a lot of my lymphatics. Okay, 12 seconds left. Instagram, join me on YouTube. I'm answering questions over there for the rest of our show. All right, thanks for joining. See you tomorrow. Okay, so let me just save this. I have to post this because I tried posting it the other day and it didn't do that. So I just get okay, so I'm just going to post this really fast. Okay, let me answer your questions. Oh, and if you love this type of content, please give me a thumbs up. I'd love to see our thumbs up in the 80 range. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot. So because we didn't go live yesterday, I didn't get to announce the 3 comment winners who are going to get this. I'm so excited. So this was what I highlighted the other day. Another option. These are great. They go over glasses. So if you wear glasses or sunglasses, it's another option for you to use if you don't feel comfortable wearing a mask for breathing. Protection comes in a lot of different methods, protect versus not. Okay. So our comment winner is Lori Thomas, and she's actually a kindergarten teacher. So Lori, what I'm going to do, I'll put my email in the comment box. But I'm going to need your address, your mailing address. So email me your mailing address. I'm putting my email address down below. So email me your mailing address. Christine Veland, you also win one of these. I bought a box, and so we've got enough for our family, Brian's parents, and our mail worker. And Joanne Shortell. So congratulations, ladies. You guys commented on my video. And those are the comments are very helpful in helping boost our let's see what happened here. Let's see. Okay, so let me get this. All right, here. Okay, so I'm posting this to Instagram. Okay, let me answer your questions. Live Q&A. I just have to post this before I lose it. Okay, I'll go back and edit that in a minute. Series, it's our COVID. I have a whole Instagram TV if you guys are on Instagram. So I have now, this is the 25th episode since we hit over 10,000. And now it just posts, not to my stories, but it permanently saves my Instagram TV. Okay, let's go to questions. Let's see here. Tanya. Hey, Tanya, good morning. Dr. Melissa, is it okay to drink dandelion tea every day? Absolutely. Or do you need to take breaks? No, you can drink it every day. It's fantastic. I love that stuff. If you want to get rid of constipation and heal your liver, dandelion tea is awesome for that. Karen, started to have hot flashes. Is this the start of perimenopause, but also shrinking? Fibroids natural could be, yes, potentially. So we will be in what we call perimenopause before we start menopause. That really is just a label. So what I always tell anybody I work with is, don't let the label define you. It's just a phase. But within that phase, we also have to recognize right now we're all undergoing a lot of stress, and the cortisol that our body produces with stress zaps your progesterone. And so I love natural progesterone cream. You see, this is like part of my plan. I haven't done my dose, but usually I'll put my little dose on before I do my show. And so I'm doing my dose with you guys live. I will put it on my wrist, on my elbows, and then I usually will also smear it on my abdomen. I'll save you guys that wonderful adventure. But this is just really good for also minimizing some of those hot flashes. If you're really having an intense amount of hot flashes, Efisoy is my favorite. FSOI is on Amazon. It's a fantastic product. It's going to address the stress with the maca, but the maca also is going to enhance your progesterone levels. And then they have a particular type of fermented, it's not even a American GMO like genetic soy. It is a Japanese related soy and Asian soy that is fermented, and then they extract this one particular element out of it. And it's proving to be amazing. What kind of magnesium? There are so many. So Lori, I love magnesium glycinate. That has less of a bowel disruption. Like there's magnesium citrate, actually like this, the calm magnesium. So this is expired. Okay. I always have a lot of stuff on my shelf. So this is like a powder version, and this has no flavor to it. But the like unpowder or the unflavored is usually what I add. You can kind of see the vapors, but this calm, the natural vitality is a magnesium citrate. It's an ionic version. This will get bowels moving. So if people want to move their bowels, magnesium citrate is powerful at that. Magnesium glycinate is less intense, but also very bioavailable. That happens to be the version I take. Alyssa said, I know there's delay in the results of tests. I think my doctor for all tests usually doesn't treat anything until she gets results. Do you think that is the case for the COVID test delay? Well, so the delay is specific to the labs, not so much the doctor. So unless your doctor is running it, like there are some, the can't remember the name of them, but it's like the rapid test. They're in clinical offices. So it's like your urgent care, you know how you get the flu swab and you get it back in like 20 minutes and you're sitting there and you're like, I feel really bad. And they're like, you feel really bad. You've got the flu. That's a different situation. But Alyssa, really what's happening is these lab vendors like LabCorp have had 50-75% increase in the tests coming through. They're just overloaded. So it's a clog in the system. Okay. Paul says magnesium pills and moringa leaves powder tea is good for general health. Yes, I've highlighted that a lot. I love it. Nicole, do you have recommendations for a supplement to take away cravings? I struggle with food addiction. Okay, so that's a good question. Nicole, cravings and food addiction is hypothalamus related. It's best also if you analyze your neurotransmitters. It's very common for us to have folks that have food addiction or any type of addictive tendencies that they'll have some imbalances in the endocrine biochemistry, their brain chemistry. And that is partly due to the sources or the imbalances of serotonin, dopamine, and all of the other neurotransmitters that's part of that kind of craving. Food cravings also will be centered in the hypothalamus. I do find that a lot of the individuals that have gone diet-free, sugar-free, there are a lot of really harmful chemicals that cannot get processed and detoxed out of the body, and it bogs down the hypothalamus. So you can do neurotransmitter testing, but I'd also look at, I don't have it here, like a hypothalamic pituitary glandular. If you want to check out my full script store, there's a link down below. It's an automatic 10% off. No code needed, takes off at the end when you check out. But there are a lot of really good products for that. But food cravings definitely are neurotransmitter and neuroendocrine hormone oriented. All right, let's see more questions. Nancy, hey Nancy, I have scoliosis, so I'm sure that's not helping the alignment of my foot. Oh yeah, so I have it too. Depending on the scoliosis, I would encourage you to check out, it's called the Schroth. It's SCHROOTH, Schroth method. It is awesome. And I was seeing a physical therapist because I wanted to get the dress I was wearing. It was very back revealing, like Brian's hearing. So let me just put this up here. You guys are holding a secret. So it's back revealing, and I wanted to get my back all like straightened out. So the Schroff method is really good. You can do exercise videos and things like that. But it will straighten up and align the spine, and then you get your hips aligned. And I will tell you, when I was seeing that therapist, I mean, obviously right now I'm not seeing anybody. I didn't have my vein issue. And so I think my vein issue, again, is also partly due to my spine, pelvic, and hip related imbalances post-pregnancy. It's awesome. Okay. Let me see. Sharon, what brand pulse device is that and how much do they cost? So I think, I actually have links down below. There are an assortment of these, but they're in high demand. So I try and keep up to date with what you can get quickly. So I've posted a few links down below. This is, I don't even know the name of the brand. It's probably on here. Face Lake is the name of it. Yeah, Face Lake, but it doesn't matter. There's all different types of ways to get your pulse, but literally, oh yeah, it goes this way. Literally, you just put it on your finger and you test it. So when in doubt, especially too with kids, for any parents, we should have these, especially with kids going back to school or being in an environment, you want to be able to get the reading. So like I'm 99, my heart rate's gone up to 93. The more I talk, the higher it gets. Okay. Thanks, Gabriel. He's a fun little man. He was upset he wanted to do a painting project. I'm like, I can't do painting projects right now. Before I was doing all my prep work this morning. So, and we have another play date with this friend on Sunday. I'm very excited. And I will tell this to you guys. I didn't mention this before, but I'm a part of a mom's Facebook group page here in our local area. And as one of the local counties is going virtual and then Atlanta schools are going virtual, moms are starting to freak out, and we're starting to look for people to help us with our care of our child and help us with teaching our children and whatnot. So the group that I'm a part of, they actually created a group of homeschooling and support for parents. And I've actually connected up with some very similar family kind of models where we're on lockdown because of immunocompromised lockdown. There's a mom that I connected with that through this group that she's on lockdown because she's a metastatic breast survivor. And so we were like, hey, we should get our kids together because we're on lockdown. We're low risk, they're low risk. And, play dates with low risk to low risk, it's like our two little bubbles blending versus having a potentially more open bubble. The exposure is more limited. So use Facebook Friends. It is, I'm really impressed with that. And they are really fast, the group coordinators. Okay. Let's see. Holly. Okay. Thanks for the question. Okay. I have a red patch above my ankle going on 10 months. Steroids did nothing. You mentioned blood vessels previously, but I can't find that video. What is recommended? There's several different recommendations. Oh, here he comes. Oh, are you doing karate? He has karate class today. Not right now.
I need that laptop.
Well, remember what we talked about? You're going to be supervised with your beads. We ate the bead over the weekend, right?
Yeah.
You want to say hi to everybody?
I'm not going to eat another bead. No.
No. Well, that's good. Okay, listen, I'm almost done. Okay. Where's Daddy at? Is he downstairs or is he in the bedroom?
He's in the bedroom. Okay.
Well, maybe Daddy can grab it for me. Okay. So, yeah, he ate the bead, passed the bead 2 days. I had to give him some magnesium. Okay. So Holly, yes, I do have a video about blood vessels. So it depends on, there are all different types of kind of scenarios that could be happening. A red patch above your ankle, I'd want to look at it and see. Red patches, usually purple, are going to be vein and they'll be kind of spread out. So I'd wonder if it's something else. So I don't know. I'd have to see a picture. Okay. Denise Downer. My vitamin D level is 49. My doctor says 30 to 80 is normal. She wants me to go up to 10,000 IU to go from 10,000 to 1,000. Why would less be good? I don't know. That's really idiotic. And by the way, 30 to 80 is not normal. 85 to over 100 is optimal. And so 30 is not normal and it's not okay. Anything below 35, you're in subclinical deficiency. 40 and below, deficiency. 50 below, 60 below, you're in a deficient state. So I don't know why they would recommend that. I would not drop down. I would actually go up. Okay, so yeah, so Dwayne, perfect example. His vitamin D is at 63 and he's still taking 15,000. Yeah, perfect example. That's a normal dose for that. Yarn sniffer. Okay. I've had primary lymph problem for 30 years. I'm assuming that's primary lymphedema. I was told by a doctor to get it rechecked to make sure that it's not vascular and that I could be helped by ablation. Oh no. And some gluing of the veins. No. Don't do ablation. Ablation is awful for lymphatics. So 80% of lymphatic challenges like lymphedema comes from vein-oriented vascular insufficiency. That the ablation is literally where they go in and they stop a vein channel. Well, here's the thing. You need those vein channels, just like we need some of our organs, like we actually need all of them, but like we need our gallbladder, but we have those removed very frequently. The body will recreate a gallbladder like kind of reservoir. So same with the veins will regrow a new vascular channel. Often they're going to be more aggressive and it's going to cause you more problems. I've had people have had 3, 4, 5 ablations. They don't work. It's a waste of time, really expensive, extremely painful, and actually makes your lymphedema worse. Not advised. Okay. Is hibiscus tea good for blood pressure? Oh, no, sorry. BPH, benign prostatitic. It is. So hibiscus is a really good stress balancer. For BPH, I want more of an anti-inflammatory. So like I would do my favorite, I have a whole bunch of these up here. My turmeric ginger, my C bumblebee D. So Pat gave me the idea for the bumblebee. So C bumblebee D, herbal, botanical. This would be good. So you get your ginger, moves your lymph, turmeric, moves your lymph. Both of those are anti-inflammatory. And that herbal, the C bumblebee D, is very, very powerful at lowering stress levels, but also balancing out some of the BPH. And I actually should mention for any of my men, and for all you ladies who have men in your lives, I have 2 downloadable guides. I have a, I have a prostate fix downloadable guide, and I also have an erectile dysfunction guide. And so those go into my protocol and recommendations. So if you haven't checked that out, please do. That's available on my website. And you can go to the shop and then you can see some of the protocols. Actually, I think we have protocols listed in that bar. Taking turmeric, ginger, green tea, that's good. Let's see. Nina, have you heard about a new unknown pneumonia? Yes, I have. These people are showing all signs of COVID, but not testing positive. So Nina's referencing something that's, we're aware of it. It's not COVID related, so I'm just watching and kind of seeing, but it's come out of China. And I don't even know what the gene sequencing of it is, but it seems to be way more intense than COVID-19. So I don't know. I've heard about it, Nina. I just don't know the details. Is the vein removal? Last question about veins. Yes. Ablation is where they go in and basically kill your veins. Shelly, Dr. Melissa, can we talk about the thymus tapping? When I do the tapping, it seems my thymus is a little sore and I get tired. I have Hashimoto's and adrenal fatigue and EBV. Any suggestion? So the question, so your thymus tapping, you just kind of get right in between your breast and you just do your tapping. I do it 15, 20 seconds. That's all. So I'll do it right here. And I do it kind of forcefully. If it's too intense of 15 or 20 seconds, you could do for 5. And like, I get the vibration. Are you feeling the vibration? The soreness could be just topical soreness, but the trick is to feel the vibration. The fatigue, and I get tired. Okay, so part of the way the thymus works is it's linked to your immune system. It's an immune gland. So it might be invigorating your immune response, and you might be dealing with some of that, the EBV. I'd be curious what active state you are in Epstein-Barr. But for sure, if you're feeling fatigued, make sure you're taking all those adaptogens. Okay. Oh, let's see, Daria. Hey, Daria. So for varicose veins, removing the veins is a bad idea. They wanted to do that for my husband. His veins are so bad. Yeah, it's bad idea. Once we start to have vein problems, it's really hard to reverse, but there are ways to balance them. Compression stockings. Like, I'm not wearing them now, but yesterday I did. My legs feel so much better. And I don't think I have an example. Let me see. I have all my lymph stuff right here. Let me see. Do I have an example of, no, that's not an example. Well, this is what compression wear looks like, but they're, gosh, I don't. Yeah, I just have a lot of my pads and equipment. So you can wear what we call over the shelf or off the shelf. Actually, I had an example. They come in colors, like they come like this blue. I can match my outfit with this shirt and the colors. I had the swatch the other day. It's not where I can easily go and get it. I'm just trying to remember. No, I don't think it's in here. Okay, but so the best thing for veins is to wear light compression, like 15 mm. That's kind of a 15 to 20 mm, very gradual compression, but it just keeps everything kind of contained. And I tell you what, if the veins bother you like mine do, it gives me pain and it feels really uncomfortable. I hate it. And it feels like I have a Charlie horse. That's how it kind of registers for me. When I wear my compression, I feel really good. Oh, Letitia, $10 super chat. Thank you, Letitia. I appreciate you. Let's see. What would be the difference? Yarn sniffer. What would be the difference in taking FSOA and Shadavari for perimenopause, or take both? I would take both. The FSOA definitely for the hot flashes. The Shadavari is just overall good global female balancer. I'm really bothered I can't show you the swatch. Like, all the colors are great. And it's very gentle. Like, I have no problem donning, like putting on the compression stocking. I feel like I missed something. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Love Your Life LLC Holland. Hi, I've been training all week and woke up very tender on the left side of my neck under my Adam's apple. I exercise daily, take quality supplements, and live with Crohn's disease. Any suggestions? So you've been like drained. Does that mean fatigued? So, tenderness on the left side could very well be, you have lymph nodes like all up in, there's just a series of lymphatic channels all along the neck. So it could be lymphatic, could be that you might be dealing with just like a little seasonal allergy or, a common cold or whatnot. I don't know. That's a hard question. I just don't know enough to really give you some advice. Okay. So I saw a question about, let's see, what can I do to increase a low DHEA? So DHEA is one of these things where when it's low, it means your adrenals are really, really taxed. And so you want to do adrenal support. I actually like an adrenal glandular, where you take an adrenal gland. This doesn't have it, but this is one of the brands that has, like, this is the Thyroplex. But you definitely want to do that. Zinc will drive the levels down. A lot of women will have high DHEA and high testosterone. Those two tend to go hand in hand. Gianna, vitamin D levels. My doctor is saying the same levels in the low 30s, and he says it's normal. Totally not. False, false, false. I actually have, let me see if I can grab it for you guys so you guys can download it. I have a free vitamin D test, or not a test, but yeah, I actually have tests for vitamin D, but I have a vitamin D dosage guide. Okay, here it is. Let me grab you the link where you can grab it. Let me see. I'm going to my little landing page here. Let me get you that. Let me copy. Okay, so copy. Okay, I'm going to send you my pretty little URL. Okay, so click on that down below in the link. Yeah, that'll get you my free vitamin D dosing guide. And it basically, I created like a little pyramid chart, and it shows you like where your levels are, like 30, what all symptoms you experience. And so if you're 30, you're going to experience all these other symptoms, and plus all the other ones that aren't even things that you account for that are vitamin D related. And then the recommendation of how to dose to get to optimization. I was taking vitamin D during pregnancy, after pregnancy. We breastfed for over 2.5 years. And then I got my D tested and I was like 33. So it takes a lot. And one of the reasons why like the whole idea of taking 1,000 is so outdated. The reality is your doctor's just not up to date with the latest research. Latest research is showing we want optimizing, even, like the labs, 30 to 100 is not normal, but that lab normal, the value of normal, that's based on everybody getting tested. Well, if everybody's deficient, is deficiency normal? Yes. But does that mean those are the levels you want to be at? No, you want to be at an optimized level. So 85 to 100, 110, depending on the person, you want to be at those levels. The other thing too, that can skew some of the results is if you get your blood drawn and you are routinely daily taking a vitamin D, you're not going to get an accurate version of your true vitamin D level. So you want to refrain from taking vitamin D for at least 3 to 5 days, because even if you're registering 33 and you're taking a daily dose, that's going to be articulated in your blood and your labs. And so you want to refrain and then find out what your real vitamin D level is. Patty Clark. Hey, Patty. Do you sell the compression stockings? I do. I checked out the website and you have to go buy them through a supplier. Yes, I am a distributor supplier for Juzo. I have all their stuff. I've got the socks, and these are all my like sample sizes and things like that. But I actually do also sell, let me show you these. I do fitting. So this is an example of a custom fit. This is a compression stocking for an individual. This is a real patient of mine who we fit, and I measure her on every area of her leg, and they will sew a particular compression garment. And this was closed-toed, a particular type of material. I've gone to Juzo. I'm really close with that company. They put this special silicone band. It's all sewn here in the US. So these are all made and manufactured here in the US. They actually dye the colors. I wish I could show you the colors. The material, they actually dye it here. It's a German company. They're like 4th generation. They dye with natural dyes. So they use like chemical free their process. It's really cool. And they have these like vats, and they have like purple and pink and brown and tan and black. And so all of these start off white or a light tan. They also have threading that has silver in them. This is a really fantastic product, and they cost a little bit more, but the quality of it is so fantastic. So yes, I do. I need to work on, there's a lot of like behind the scenes business stuff I've got to kind of get coordinated. We're having some challenges with some of the website links. We're having challenges with, I need to change my sales shopping cart, especially for the Juzo products, because there's different sizes. I have some cumbersome aspects that I've got to kind of rework, just timing of it. So I'm looking at probably hiring some contractors to help me with that stuff. But I will have those. I do have those and can get those for you. So if you want to, Patty, you know the way to contact me. If you want to message me directly, I can get you the sizing chart Actually, I need to get my web guy to add that size chart to my website. Okay. Let's see, a few more questions and I've got to go. Oh, thanks. Scott says, so proud of your mayor, not backing down from the governor. She's awesome. I'm really impressed with her. Let's see. Oh boy. Pat, have we had some crazies on our feed? Oh gosh, Jana, 30.5. Yeah, that's way too low. Freddie, D was the 20. Ugh, too low, too low. I tell you what, it for me, like I can tell, I don't always take it, like every day. I do a high dose and I'll sometimes take 3 days and then not. And, I kind of splice and dice it. I can tell a difference. Like I can tell it keeps me, my mental acuity, my focus, I get more done. I'm way more productive. It's pretty amazing. Let's see here. Okay, K Franklin 75. How can kids benefit from spirulina? How much can we add to their smoothies? Depending on their age, like Gabriel and I, we actually are going to make more mommy cookies today, and I'll add in about a tablespoon of spirulina, and he does it. Like he sees it, he knows he's got all these green things in his chocolate mommy cookies. I mean, the kid has we put magnesium, protein, maca. I put, some of my other powders like Lion's Mane. I will put in green powder, spirulina, chia seeds. He loves it, and he knows it's part of the plan. Susie, yes, in the hospital when things start to go crazy all at once, we can call it a full moon Saturday night. Yeah. Yeah, Dwayne has a good comment. I think it's best to always research and not be afraid to question your doctor. It took me over a year and 5 urologists to do the testing I wanted for treatment of a high PSA. Rachel, is it normal for your menstruation to stop for a year and a half and then restart again? I thought I was done since I was having hot flashes. It can. One of the things is I have my women that I put on Shatavari will sometimes not have cycles for 2 or 3 years, and all of a sudden, boom, they get a cycle and they're like, holy cow. So it depends if you have gone through stress or you've added some really good herbals, you can get those back again. Okay, Dorothy, what probiotic liquid or chewable for my 8-year-old autistic son and 38-year-old that is in your store that's good for candida and liver detoxification? If I email you can tell me. Yes. Please do a video. Joanne says, please do a video one day of all the things you give to Gabriel that are natural and healthy and how you gauge the time of the day that you give it to him. Yes. Sometimes it's Gabriel directed. He knows he has we call it morning medicine. Morning medicine, there's lunchtime dosing, and then nighttime medicine. And from the get-go, I've been giving him, I'm trying to see if I have some of the little baby pills. You just put on the tongue, boom, they dissolve. And he's just been doing that. It's going to be a part of his life. Will I post the mommy cookie recipe since the link did not work? Oh, the link didn't work. Oh, that's not good. Is BMR complex from Integrative Therapeutics a good thyroid support? Yes, I love Integrative Therapeutics. Okay. Yeah, Pat. I saw some of those comments. Okay. So friends, thank you for tuning in. It's been an hour and a half. This is such a great show. I'm grateful, first of all, to the super chat from our wonderful friend, Letitia. Thank you, Letitia. I appreciate that. I'm so excited we were able to come live and be a part of the live show. I was so bummed and felt like I let you all down yesterday when we just did not connect live. I was kind of having, I don't know if you could tell, and I did post the video. So if you want to watch yesterday's video, kind of having an internal freak out, tried to maintain it, but was really, really upset that it just wasn't connecting. So, but tomorrow we will have our live show. I don't know what the topic will be. I am probably going to peruse more of the CDC information to see what else is out there. But gosh, just every day, there's just a ton of information. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me, being supportive. We go through our lulls of the COVID deniers, but I think it is definitely, as more and more people get infected with this, more and more people have family members who are dealing with this, the COVID denial is going to start to go away. It's just part of it. Like, how can you deny it when your husband or you yourself get it? Like, it's legit. And I wish my printer would have been working, but we're starting to see some of the journals, not journals, but the news, the online digital reporting showcase pictures of people on ventilation and showing what hospitalization looks like with COVID. I think we also need to have that mental connection. It's very easy to look at a number and not associate that with the person. So, all right. So thank you guys. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you all have a wonderful Friday. We've got a busy day here in our household, and if you guys want to see the side garden, it's starting to come along. Some of my plants are starting to get going. I posted that over on Instagram, and I'm trying to think of what else. I have more things on Instagram, but again, it's all the time. I was just feeling maxed out with time. It's really hard with a little one. So anyway, I'm going to go play with him now, and I hope you guys have a good day. And thanks, Pat. And don't forget, Lori Thomas, Christine Velan, and Joanne Shortell. Email me your addresses, and you guys won the comment winner giveaway. So I've got one of these going to each of you ladies. Thank you. Have a good day. And please like this and go back on the other video, or on when this wraps up, and if you comment. I really appreciate that. All right, friends, have a good day. Bye. See you later. Thanks, Pat. Have a good day, everybody.